Some nights, the world feels smaller than it really is. Streets that usually bustle with life stand quiet, and even the air feels heavier with the weight of waiting. The clouds hang low, and the dim glow of streetlights begins to pierce the creeping darkness. In a town like this, every sound, every shadow seems to carry a story, even when no one's around to hear it. Marcus had hoped to catch the last bus home. The yellow bus, battered and familiar, rumbled down the wet road, headlights reflecting off puddles, leaving a trail of mist in its wake. And just like that, the night moved on without him. Sometimes life has a way of moving too fast, of leaving you behind before you're ready. Marcus stood there, hoodie pulled tight around his face, rain soaking through his clothes and dripping from the brim of his hair. His backpack felt heavier than usual, weighed down by books and by a sense of being forgotten. The empty streets stretched ahead, each puddle reflecting a sky too dark to promise anything at all. The bus stop was silent. The rain fell in a steady rhythm, washing the world of its colors. The flickering streetlight above cast shadows that seemed alive, twisting and stretching on the wet pavement. Marcus hugged himself, wishing for something, anything, to break the monotony of being utterly, completely alone. He pulled out his phone. No signal, battery low, messages unsent. The little device that usually connected him to the world was useless. For a moment, panic crept in. What if no one came? What if he was stuck here forever? The rain seemed louder now, like it was mocking him. Then he saw headlights cutting through the darkness, a car slowly making its way down the wet street. The sound of tires splashing through puddles grew louder. For the first time that night, Marcus felt a flicker of hope, but with it came caution and the unspoken question, could he really trust a stranger? Inside the car, a man noticed him. Concern was written on his face, soft and human. There was no judgment here, no rush, just quiet observation, a small pause in the ordinary chaos of life. And somehow that small act of noticing was enough to start healing the boy's tension. The man rolled down his window. "Hey, you need a ride?" he asked, voice steady, calm, kind. Marcus hesitated, glancing at the empty street behind him. And then he nodded. Sometimes all it takes is one simple question to change the course of a life forever. As the car moved forward, the rain blurring the world outside, Marcus sank into the seat, feeling the warmth of the interior seep into him. The hum of the engine, the soft rhythm of wipers against glass. It was ordinary, mundane, and yet in that ordinary moment, Marcus felt safe, and for the first time all night, he could breathe. They drove through the quiet streets of town, neon signs reflecting on puddles, shop windows darkened and empty. Everything seemed frozen in time, yet moving, like a painting slowly unfolding. Marcus realized that acts of kindness are often quiet, almost invisible, but they leave trails that shine brighter than any streetlight. At the end of the road, a small house stood with its porch light glowing warmly against the fading rain. The sight of it made Marcus's chest tighten, not from fear, but from a sense of home, of comfort. He didn't know this house, he didn't know the man inside, but something told him he was finally safe. Marcus stepped out of the car, looking back at the man who had driven him here. No words were spoken. None were needed. The gratitude in his eyes, the slight nod of his head, that silent thank you carried more weight than 1,000 conversations ever could. Some gestures are too big for words. Years passed, the seasons changed, and the town evolved around him. Marcus grew taller, older, wiser, but he never forgot that night. That single, unassuming act of kindness had quietly shaped the man he was becoming. Life has a way of planting seeds you don't see until they bloom. Now, the man who had once given him shelter from the rain lay weak in a hospital bed. The lines on his face told stories Marcus had only imagined. Beeping monitors and soft sunlight made the room feel fragile, like a moment suspended between past and present. And Marcus realized it was his turn to give back. He walked quickly down the corridor, each step a drumbeat in his chest. Memories of the rain, the bus, the stranger, everything rushed back. He had to reach him. There was a debt of gratitude no one could measure, a connection that demanded acknowledgement. And then he saw him, the man who had changed his life without even knowing it. Their eyes met, and in that gaze, decades of unspoken gratitude, respect, and love passed between them. Words were not enough, but sometimes words are unnecessary when the heart speaks louder than anything else. Marcus reached out and held his hand. Strong hands, weathered by life, met young hands full of hope. In that quiet grasp, they shared more than thanks. They shared recognition of humanity, of the way one small act can ripple across a lifetime. "Thank you," Marcus whispered, voice catching, and the man smiled softly, eyes glistening, knowing that the kindness he once gave had returned, multiplied, through the life of another. Sometimes the world reminds us that what we give comes back when we least expect it. The sun streamed through the window, golden and gentle. Shadows melted away, and the room filled with warmth. Marcus watched the light dance across the bed, thinking how one night of rain, one small choice, could change everything. There is hope, always, waiting just beyond the storm. And sometimes all it takes is a single moment, a single gesture to change a life forever. A ride home, a hand held, a heart opened. Kindness is never small. It echoes across time, shaping who we are and who we will become.